In our mind and before us is her sister Pegarty Long, who herself is a very talented artist, a distinguished filmmaker, a champion of Venice, and a woman with a great Irish soul. So please welcome Pegarty Long.
Great Irish soul was right. I was just at Finn McCool's. Listen, and Chris, I loved your poem. Krista. So, one thing that I read in the Beachhead, I read a lot of things in the Beachhead this last time. And the photo of all you guys is unbelievable. I wish I had taken it. But, Laura Shepard Townsend, and I read what she had read, written about Abbot Kinney. It changed my whole kind of opinion of him. I thought of him as a tobacco business person, you know, but he explained his personal philosophy. Why should a man want to die wealthy? It is far better that he build something that will be a pleasure and a benefit to mankind. Amen. He did. Women too. So, anyway, here we go. Venice. Venice, holy ground, stained with the blood of poets. City which lies beneath the breasts of birds, guarded by cats. Behind every corner, the muse, angel of surprise. Poems out of pavement cracks. Now I love this one. You know, Philomene told me about this experience, and then she wrote a poem. Black Buddha in a dark alley. I had dropped a can of Pepsi in a Venice alley. The spray of soda shot up like the universe exploding, boiling up into the cold sky. It was then I saw him, Black Buddha in a dark alley. He walked with stone solitude. Nothing held him. Homeless. His young face eroded, an ebony rock, the black night on his tongue. He picked up the Pepsi and began to drink. Would you like one that is not broken? I asked this broken man, this unbroken man. My voice was an empty echo as the night rolled over my eyes. His voice, thank you, ma'am, thank you, thank you. His stone face smiling into the alley, resembling a dream, turning the night sky gold, and cut the raging rock of the world. Now this is Philomene's husband poem. John Thomas, beat poet, who Wanda Coleman, as we know, has just gone on, called him her first real poetry teacher. And it's about an apartment in Venice. A philosopher's memory of Venice apartment. That was one bad and buggy place, Snarky. Cockroaches all over the house and into everything. Kid, what would you do if just after the first fine mouthful of morning coffee you realized that you had swallowed a half-grown roach? I'll tell you what I did. It wasn't easy, but I convinced myself that I had swallowed not a cockroach, but a small brown moth. That idea I could live with. I haven't always lived in splendor, as I do now at the Ellison. Snarky, but I have always been master of my mind. That's what we need, masters of our mind. It's a little difficult. So this is Philomene's acceptance speech when she became the poet laureate of Venice. My first act as poet laureate is to define the word epiphany. It is to rent the veil. It is the reason we come to Venice. It is what we get whether we want it or not. To live in the state of wonder. And I humbly accept this position of being both the silence and voice of the wonder of Venice.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the last, excerpts from her inauguration poem to Bill Rosendahl. And others, a few people. Bill Rowdy. Venice, city conceived in imagination for imagination. With body intact, the canals, the welcoming houses, the people came. It happened, the magic, unexplainable. Venice becoming the city imagined. A city like no other city on earth. With magic and practicability, and with the hope that that resolve passed on from those that have gone before us, for them as for ourselves, and for those that will follow, will stand here where we stand today, and who will walk upon our footsteps into the next century, that the light of Venice not be extinguished, nor diminished, nor simply be maintained, but that light burn, burn, burn into a boundless luminosity. Yeah.
also the Beachhead Collector Treasurer, so she'll be shaking you down before you leave.
Yeah. She will.
And did we miss anyone?
No, we're all done.
Where's Donna? And if he was here, this would take twice as long. But we all love Don. Okay, this is the current Beachhead Collective, but I want to remind you that over the period of 45 years, there have been hundreds of collective members who have put out this paper. Some lasting a long time, some coming to one meeting. I think it should be seen as a form of community service in Venice, even if you haven't been busted for anything. You gotta. Everybody should consider community service at the Venice Beachhead. At this point, I'd like anybody who's been on the collective in the past to stand up.
He's threatening to leave the collective, but I don't believe it. I don't think he's gonna leave. I think he's gonna stay. He's been on the collective for about maybe, let's see, 6-7 years now. And he's written articles, and he's also the chair, well, former chair of the Peace and Freedom Party. Great poet, and also a great article writer for the Beachhead, and a great collective member. He did a lot of the distribution of the papers over the last couple of years.
And the calendar.
Great help. And we've been so lucky to have him. We dread him leaving.
The calendar.
The calendar! Okay, he's been the calendar guy before we even have a calendar. With love and appreciation, I want to welcome Carl Abrams.
Now, why are we on? spontaneous poet, that dreamy visitor who drives into our coastal Venice by the sea, without warning, bringing peace in character and freedom of spirit. Visitor or Venetian who teaches and talks into the night, leaving a trusted parked car without OPD permit. Perhaps it's a Walt Whitman, a Pablo Neruda, or a Mary Getline, who spends a tired and spontaneous night at my carefree Venice house, who, after a few glasses of wine, sleeps on my couch without OPD permission, rather than risk a life driving back alone. I'm also concerned with the spontaneous lover, visitor, or Venice rover, who parks near the misty coast and dreams innocent songs of love. At most, told by some among us would say that they're just too afraid of his or her nightly unpermitted presence, and too afraid to let them sleep through the night, to wake again in a new and free Venice morning by the sea.
Inspiration towards hard work and commitment towards the beachhead. Not just bringing it back alive, but keeping it alive and making sure that it survived past his honorable involvement. I would like to introduce, it is my great, great pleasure to introduce Jim.
The person you were introducing couldn't be here tonight. Anyway, it's not fair calling Mary Getline to the podium. She is a great, great poet who combines social consciousness with her poetry, and that's my cup of tea.
Yes. You have a cup?
Metaphorically speaking. Poets often do. What's this? Oh, here's volume 1, number 1 of the Beachhead.
Yes.
Look at this. No color. This is 1968 technology. 4 pages. You know,
It's
but
beautiful.
this started it all.
Yes.
You can look at this online at freevenice.org. We're working to get every single Beachhead issue online, so anybody anywhere can look at them and read them for free, and you won't have to go to the library. The latest one just came out, but the one before that in November, I had an article on the coup that changed America, the JFK assassination, and I got a huge amount of responses to that, most of them positive. And I got a few that said, yeah, but what's the Venice connection? You know, because in the Beachhead, you got to have a Venice angle to every story, right? Because here we are, and it should affect our lives and so forth. So my answer to that is the Venice connection to this coup that changed America forever was the Beachhead. And that because of this, that's why we have the Beachhead today. And I'd like to explain that.
Okay.
Great idea. 5 minutes or less. What do you do when the enemies of peace and justice have seized total power and started wars from Vietnam to Afghanistan and still continue to do those things and imprison millions of us in concentration camps called correctional facilities
That's right.
and sent their black shirts into Venice to jail us for smoking flowers and eating herbs that are not approved by the pharmaceutical industry. You can't start a war with them because that'd be a terrible thing to have violence and blood and all that. But little things can be done to try to change those things. But terrible things happened in Dallas and Vietnam and in the streets of our cities, including in the 60s, including many more assassinations. And when the resistance was basically smashed in the 60s, only a few pockets of freedom remained. One of course, was Venice, which was far from pacified. You can't even think of Venice being pacified. And where the beachhead began to monthly chip away at the walls of this evil fortress and assure us, all of us, when we read it, that we were not alone in the way we felt, that things were wrong in this country and had to be changed. So let me tell you the story of what happened in Venice and how the beachhead came to be. This is called the Heroic Age of Venice, and it's in the style of the poet Virgil. Justice for the people, I sing, who forced by fate to abandon their homes and flee the vast wasteland of mediocrity, now filled with haughty Puritans of unrelenting hate, expelled and exiled, they came to the Venice shore. Oh Muse, what adventures each may claim in their native lands, now turned against them. Let them tell their tales, we will listen for 100 years. They flocked to our quiet haven, was sheltered and healed the damage to those who just wanted to be left alone. But even here, the fearful guards of propriety hounded and harassed the holy men and women who could not still their creative demons. In small cafes and on the broad beach, they cried out their laments against unfair existence in a land that valued wealth, not wisdom. The poet shouted, "Stop this madness, I will not be a part of it. Leave me here in tranquil Venice, you'll not have me for your war machine." They jailed our bards, Stuart and Frankie, but it only made their words stronger. They and Tony, John, and later Philomene said, "This Venice you shall not have, it belongs to the lady, beware." And many more gathered to defend sacred Venice. They rallied around the Hags, John and Anna from far off Roma, worthy successors of Aeneas, who long ago also came from far away to fight for freedom for his people. And soon they were joined by the quiet architect Rick Davidson,
Yes.
and Carol of two names, Thurman and Fondiller, Jane Gordon, Mary Jane, Mary Lou, Marvina Kennedy, and so many more who rallied for a Venice with freedom to love and create. They rose in the thousands from the cafes and bungalows to fight for fair Venice's survival, struggling to throw off the yoke of landlords, evil as marauders, who have no thought except for pillage. The people marched again and again to save their homes, to stop a freeway, to protect their canals, and always for freedom, a concept their enemies could not grasp. Our hero said there must be peace in Vietnam and Venice, and all of us must be equal to live and love side by side. We will not sleep until the killing stops, they said, so all can live free of fear. But the black shirts came to sweep the people from the beach, to stop the poetry and the music that soothe and enlighten so. In 1967, a piece of Venice spread across the state to bring peace and freedom to all who were awake. This is good, said John Haig, but how do we spread the word? Here at home, the barbarians from the city are at the gates. They intend to destroy all that is good and just, for they hate that which is different and denies their profits. How to let the people know? Our heroes debated long and hard. Some said we must have a radio station to be heard, but most agreed it was a newspaper that must be made to serve the community and be its voice. John answered, we have made a beachhead in our town, like the one in Normandy, but this time for peace, not war. Let us inform our readers what precious things we've made. Our poetry, our art, our comradeship, our gentleness and hope. Truly a beachhead in a land that needs it badly. Long did they labor those dark nights of November '68, but on December 1st, our heroes gave birth at last. The Free Venice Beachhead, 10,000 strong, proclaimed for all to see, this paper is a poem. Freedom and truth are our watchwords, and let the chips fall where they may. And through the years, hundreds more joined to add their beachheads to the growing stack. 3 million and even more copies since '68. When did our heroic age end, you ask? We will tell you when it does. 45 years have come and gone. Many heroes have fallen, but others rise up to take their places. We struggle still for freedom and just to be left in peace. The outcome is far from certain, but we are determined. We shall not fail to heed the call. We shall be human until we fall. We will thrive so long as beloved Venice is truly a beachhead, a beacon upon the land for all those who value a beach more than a bank, and friendship more than commerce. And we know our community is strong, its people well and loving, as long as the seagulls sing Chihuahua. And our treasured beachhead is surviving still. Thank you. Hope and confidence in the future. Long live the Free Venice Beachhead. Free Venice.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, this is the moment you'll all be waiting for.
donation bucket. All right, there's so much wine going around. Okay, we have a great ending to this awesome event. I'm so happy that all of you came out. It's an almost sold out event. It's like packed, and half of you don't even want to come in here. Half of the people are in the lobby. They can't stop talking to each other or themselves.
Place to go. God has a mood over Venice tonight. Shoes upon my feet. Just got this piece of crust to eat. Ain't got no solitary friend. Just Sunday right.
got me flying high and wide on a magic carpet ride full of butterflies inside.